Good morning, you're watching Morning at NTV. Eid Mubarak, of course, we just had a reality on the ground. Our colleague here said is Andrew Chamagero at Chivuli Mosque said 8:30 they should be going in for prayers. And of course, Andrew Chamagero will also join us part of the conversation because he's very passionate about this. Community policing is what has been preached every other time when we talk about security in this country. They're saying you and I should take matters back in our hands. Also, you be your neighbor's keeper. And some of us don't even know who our neighbors are. By there, I'll share. I don't know if I'm supposed to share who my neighbor is, but we are very secure. I have Fandemilian Kaima. You are the police spokesperson. You do this for a living. You talk for a living. You might be tired of talking. You're just like us, by the way. And I also have, we've already actually introduced the mayor of Nakawa Division, Engineer Balimwezo Nsubuga Ronald. No fights, I'm hoping, today.
No. We never fight.
You never fight.
Exactly.
Yeah, because Engineer Balimwezo...
We are landing people.
Yeah, Engineer Balimwezo has been waiting for you. He said we cannot have this conversation without Afande Kaima.
And I promise to be here.
And you're here.
And God is good that I'm here.
So community policing. I was just sharing with Engineer Balimwezo that if we're going to discuss what it used to be like, we have to notice that the fact that there used to be community policing and knowing your neighbors was the leadership structure. When I look at who my leader is in Chiwatuli, more accessible, who's more accessible to me, I might not have the answer to that. Whereas back in the day, the chairman was the strongest person you had in that village. First of all, the chairman knew who was in the village. They were the go-to, and I was showing stamps and now. And if you were a new person who came in, even your neighbor used to ask, who's that? How long are they staying? They're here for school. So the leadership structure has changed. What do you think about that?
Thank you very much. Good morning, viewers. Eid Mubarak. Even when you shifted from one area to the other, you had to be introduced to the chairperson.
Yes.
And this would happen when the chairperson, where you came from, would give you letters. And this was a good thing. I don't know where it went. I think it's a failure on our part as a country that the foundation has to be very, very strong. Chairman LC1 is a very, very, very important person. If chairman came here and there are 3 seats here, one of us has to stand up, probably me.
They were very important.
Yes, because the elected leaders, they are the foundation. The Baganda say, Enju enywera musingi. I remember in 1991, I remember vividly, President Museveni went out of the country for close to 2 weeks, came back, then went back. Those days, whenever he would come, they would have press conferences at the airport, and they would produce verbatim whatever he said. So one journalist asked him, I think David Omabaliko, who is in charge of the country now that you are not here for a weekend day? And he said, but Chairman LC1 is there. And when Chairman is there, I'm sure everything is being done. I remember those words. Today, the leadership at that lower level is very shaky. Everybody thinks they can be a leader. And the manufacturer has come in. People want to be chairman because the chairman died and there were no elections, so somebody grabs it, then they divide the village, then they go into politicking, and whoever comes to say you want to get a passport, you want to get a certificate of good conduct, you want to acquire, say, a firearm. There is a document that chairman has to say, all that I see, honestly, is not the examination of who this person is, this resident is. Do you have money for stamp? And
That's it.
And I'm not
who are you, where are you from, what do you do?
And I'm not choosing the chairpersons. It's our failure as a country that we have not given it priority. I shout this every day. And people say, but you serve government. Yes, I am, and I have to say this so that we can go over it. I'm afraid even that we are going to have elections. I am very, very, very afraid that the wrong characters are going to stand and win and cause commotion. We have to think deeply about this. When we don't listen to the voices down there, when we don't do studies, simple, straight studies, we are going to have people in offices that are going to commit crimes. Why? Many people in this country, when you watch, many people who are serious think, I think politics is not a good game to go into. politics is for people who do this and this. And when we see political actors also, what they do, sometimes we confirm this.
Yes.
That politics is a game of money. Those who stand out and stand onto their principles have been accused, have been branded.
Or find a way to actually break
bring
that.
them down
Yes, yes.
by their own political organizations, all the people with whom they work. So really, Uganda is such a beautiful country. The Baganda say, "Atanaita ita yatenda nyino kufumu." Some of us have had the opportunity to travel to other countries. Even these crimes that you see. Last week I was speaking to a forum, a group of Ugandans who are in South Africa. They have a forum and they link you in and they ask you questions. When they speak to you, it's as if Uganda is crumbling. I told them, guys, just be serious. Check the crime rate in South Africa. Compare with ours here. And what you are doing there without offending them.
But of course, we shouldn't be saying that the other one is too bad. I was saying just this morning that in Mexico, they are supposed to have elections 1st July. A new president and about 3,000 other new seats. But every week, a candidate is murdered. Every single week.
And we must not even gauge ourselves on.
But we can't use them as a
No,
benchmark.
no.
We're supposed to, it's us. We're supposed to use our country.
Imagine when you come to Uganda, life is blossoming, people are friendly. The best example I would give to people is 2011, walk to work. When political actors wanted to, I think, to ban this, if I can use that, well, to demonstrate is a right. But the way it was being done was as if we are in a war. We would have trouble the whole day. And in the evening, I had a bike. I would ride my bike, go through the same people we had interactions with, and you still go home. And somehow,
everyone sleeps.
Somehow they would think, maybe you're doing your work, and I would not take it personal.
Probably that has changed now.
That
it's
has
very
changed.
personal now.
Yeah, the personal is
But
changed.
before we get into that, Engineer Afande has hinted that there's money, but also as a country we've let down this structure.
Yeah.
Is it that we've not given them enough power as chairman and so on so, or is it that we no longer have those outstanding people who can be out? Because the chairman used to be an outstanding member of society. Yeah. And you knew who the chairman was, like a father, by the way. Yes. Would punish the children, would be a leader, would be everything. Is there a lack of outstanding people? Is it the money that has removed these outstanding people? Is it that the powers themselves have not been given to these people?
Yeah, we have what I should say a failed state as we speak now. Because security is one of, it is the responsibility of police first and foremost to secure the people.
Okay.
To begin with. And we have an incomplete structure. We have, in leadership, we have a trickle-up effect. That we have the LC1 who reports to the LC2, who reports to the chairman LC3, 4, 5, and then parliament, then president.
Yes.
Now, there is an incomplete structure. We have no LCs at all. The most important structure in leadership is the LC1. Even if the president is not there, like he has given an example.
The president knew the value of his chairman.
He knew he had a cell that was complete, that was supposed to man that particular area.
Yes.
The security, and so forth and so forth. Currently, we have no legitimate leadership
on the ground.
At the grassroots. Even if you made an agreement, it will be void as you speak. With using the LC, is aware of cases that have gone to court with LCs as witnesses, and they are chased away.
Because they're not recognized.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We have taken about 19 years without elections. And the law is clear, a term is 5 years. So as we speak, we have LCs that have 4 or 5 stamps. Chairman LC1 has wabavubuka ina one FDC na ina stamp YNRM ina stamp chairman yava ku kyalo kati buli omuna wamba buwambi. And what they are doing is to get money from people. You find a piece of plot being sold 4 times or 3 times.
Yes.
And I know you have seen such cases in your police.
Investigating many.
Exactly.
Yes.
So we have to address the issue of LCs if we are to have security. Long time ago, a defense, what defense is currently, they are not in existence. And we have that big problem. Police, as we speak, police has no capacity. Security must be done by the people themselves.
Do you not have the
They
capacity?
have no capacity. And why am I speaking this? You will attest to this. We have 40,000 policemen in Uganda. I mean 50 now. 50.
Not yet. 43.
43.
Oh, that's
But we have
still
40
a
million people. Now, when you make ratios,
It doesn't add up.
it doesn't add.
It doesn't add up. And the population is
The
increasing.
population has tremendously increased.
It's increasing.
And you have to understand when you look at the demographics of the population itself, I mean, you know what it means. Majority are young people.
Young
Young
people.
people.
Who have issues. One, they don't fully understand. I'm a teacher, and I would hardly get problems with the senior 2, senior 3 students. I would hardly, because these are the teens who think they know it all,
Yes.
who give you names, who play the teacher, who would really annoy people. But because you know they are growing up, they are bound to do this, they don't see so much, I wouldn't get offended at all. This is the population we have. We have a population of young people who are graduates who don't have jobs. Now, somebody who
You
does
know,
not
we're
have a
even saying
job-
that forget not having jobs. Young people's minds, your mind is growing at 18, 20.
20.
You have so much energy to do
Energy to
something,
do.
and then there's nothing to do.
Nothing to-
That's dangerous.
So where are you putting that energy?
This energy, if we are not careful, might be put in the wrong angle. And you can
It's already being done. It's already happening.
You can get
As I
examples.
speak, we are seated on a time bomb.
No.
We are seated on a time bomb.
No,
And
no.
I'm telling you this.
No.
I hope this is not PR,
No.
Afandeke.
No.
Are we
We
sitting on
are
a time
seated
bomb or
on
we're
time
not?
We are not seated on a time bomb, but we have challenges, Chairman. And I want us to accept this. When it's a political season, when we are going to go into elections, we need to be honest to ourselves. And I don't agree.
But Kayima, you have already
I
spoken it. You said that we are going to have wrong characters.
Do the wrong things.
No, because during the elections, he talked about wrong characters taking on
these positions
Yes.
of responsibility.
What does that mean?
No, time bombs.
What does that mean?
How would you define it?
You see,
If it's not a
Chairman,
time bomb, how would you define
Chairman,
it?
I deal with those things, the bombs and what. Time bomb is something that is terrible.
It's ticking.
Yes.
It's
You're
not
running
ticking.
out of time
But I
soon.
would
That's
say
what, is that what you're trying to
It's
say?
not ticking, but we have challenges that we are interfaced with. The earlier we understand them, the earlier we appreciate them, then we take a
But
position.
Afandeke,
And
but
I
you're
can tell you-
not
and
going
I
to
can
create
tell
the
you,
jobs.
Yes.
You, as the police, are not going to create jobs to curb the unemployment. So you don't have the answer to that.
There are answers. We can share the answers. And let me tell you, when I was a student of economics, and I was not very good in it, some answers you'd get marks, but I thought we didn't have to have those marks.
Okay.
Government should do this. Government should, and you know they give you marks.
Yes.
When will government do that?
Okay, so if unemployment is a problem, I assumed you should find something for these young people to do. Of which,
Sometimes we have also to look deep into ourselves. Family. Look at family.
so the family unit.
How serious are we as families? Look at what is happening today. These kidnaps, self-kidnaps, you find young people involved, you find married women and men involved.
But isn't
And-
that
and you-
one
and
or
you're
two cases,
questioning.
Afande? Is that 1, 2, or 3 or 4 cases?
There are many. There are many cases.
Is that accounting for a big percentage of these kidnaps and murders? Okay, well,
Yes.
they don't end up in
Yes,
murders,
the
some of
self-kidnap-
them.
The self-kidnaps
Self-kidnaps.
are the majority. When you
Really?
categorize.
No, not really.
No, when you categorize.
Not really.
When you look here, our analysis shows, and this is even in our report, our analysis shows that there are those who are kidnapping people, demanding for ransom, with terrorism agenda.
Okay.
They get the money, fund it into legal businesses to finance terrorism. And we do not see it, because this is clean money but it is got from
the
that money. We got a category where people get into relationships. Then when you disagree, you hire these young people who have a lot of energy and
carry
they're
out
into
revenge.
crime to do that. Then we see witchcraft practices in this country. It also threatens me. Even at the point of annoying some people, people begin businesses, be it churches, locally churches, witchcraft practice. We want miraculous things to happen. Please, the law of cause and effect must apply at all levels. You want a miracle to happen, and people will tell you, we can pray for you and the miracle happens. Equally, the witch doctor will tell you they can do something and the miracle
Right
will
now,
happen.
when your problem is gone.
Please, miracles happen. You sleeping and waking up alive, being at NTV
Is
this
a
morning
miracle.
is a miracle in itself. The rest, please go and work.
Indeed.
Go and work.
That means that indeed,
We're
that's
not
what
secure.
I'm talking about. We are seated in the time bomb. If you are living by miracle, yes, I know. In Christianity, we may
You
say
have to be grateful for life.
for that life.
And
But
work.
Let me ask Mr. Kaima, what is the standard ratio of a policeman to a resident? The current state.
How many policemen
What is
for
the
how many
standard? Yes,
citizens? The
exactly.
ratio.
It's
I want to show you that we are seated on time bomb.
No. Well, it's a very small.
Tell me.
I mean, it's huge. It's 43.
The standard, the
43,000.
standard.
I'm coming. 43,000. Just do that. Divide it by 40. Probably it's 1,001
The standard.
to 800
All the
something.
current status.
So one policeman to 800 citizens.
Yes,
Okay.
but you see, that's not even real.
Estimates.
That's the figure.
Okay.
But you know, you are going to get Kaima who does not police the beat. Okay? Who goes to work, who comes at NTV, who goes out of the country. He's not really policing his beat. You'll get policemen, when we count police 43,000, we are even counting those who are abroad for missions, we are counting those who are sick, we are counting those who are in positions
But also,
of leadership.
when you say one policeman to 800, for
800.
example, it has. We also have. You have traffic police. You have police,
all
and
those
you
are-
realize that.
all those are on duty.
Yes, but you say duty. Should a traffic policeman come and see why they've stolen my shoes?
When he manages the traffic very well, the thief may not
After you see, after years.
Is
No,
he
but
trained
let
to
me
do
tell you
that?
what's happening now, Fande Kaima.
Basically.
If the traffic policeman is my friend,
Yes.
I am most likely not going to report to Kaima. I'm going to report. Do you see how
But
we
he's a
are going
policeman,
around?
If
So
you are going to
so
be,
his mandate
Policeman
is
with a different role.
Yes.
altogether.
yeah. But if we are going to be
And
honest
it's trained
with
to do
ourselves,
something else.
Totally
for those
different.
who are doing the work, it would be like 1 to 2,000.
If the one is actually doing
If we
great.
get the Kaimas out, because, well, I won't do the
Because you're
the
here,
policing.
you know,
I
you're
am
yes.
here. From here, you go to office, you do the planning of this.
But you're
you go
saying
for
if we
this
had
meeting.
one policeman who's actually
The international standard is 1 to 500.
okay.
Okay?
Financial.
The
We are an
CID
underdeveloped country, so we can give each
the
other an
CID
excuse.
officer must handle, according to international standards, 12 case files. You go to OCID, CPS, OCID, where I was in land protection. At some point we said, each of you come here with your files. Some had over 4,000.
Okay.
Now that means I'm not going to be effective. I'm going to be bogged
So police is
down
what,
by work.
understaffed? Do you need more people to join you?
Yes, we need more people.
People are unemployed. We might as well-
it takes many things to have
join
them
police.
employed.
But
It takes many
remember,
things.
they have
But-
had crime preventers who are
And there were
turning into
plenty.
crime creators, and you cannot use people you
Those
don't
were
pay.
disbanded,
Mr.
I'm
Kaima
very
is
sure.
very much aware that crime preventers have not been paid.
No, but the concept was different.
The concept was good, and indeed
Yeah.
everyone
The idea of
appreciates
getting these young people
exactly,
into
the
yes.
system.
And honestly, these were not people that were brought to the force to work for the force expecting a pay. The challenge we have in it, no. Crime prevention is a worldwide concept, like neighborhood watch.
Yes.
It's not a police thing.
It is
it's
for
a
your
worldwide
Yeah.
concept that helps us to connect to the people. Now, when we give you trainings in crime prevention, for example, so issues of bond, issues of arrest, simple things, issues of personal security. What would I do? If I'm driving, what would I do? If Flavia, you are driving, what would you do? One, if I'm going to go into my vehicle, I should be alert enough.
Yes.
Don't just come out of a supermarket, you are on your...
Enter the car and
And
be alert.
Somebody can even sit behind and go with you. Somebody would remove a wheel cap. What would you do? Be alert all through. If I'm driving, watch in front, watch behind, watch your sides.
Why wasn't every citizen made a crime preventer and trained?
And that was our
That was the idea?
Yes.
Then
and
what
we
happened?
kept to train many people. And then politics comes in, young people come in, give it another direction, and then go into crime. I know many Ugandans who would say, I know so and so, I can help you. I know many Ugandans, including the elite, who, instead of coming to the police directly, they go through someone else who will see someone else, third parties.
Because maybe I feel that's how efficiency will happen.
No, it can't happen.
No, not really.
I know many people who would be called to land protection. It's the best example I give because land is life. So people would say, whom can I say? Do you know the commandant? No, I know the commandant. He's my friend. I can't even pick the phone. I know they can call because they have the number. It's a public phone. So when they called you, our method was come with the person.
Okay.
And when you come with the person, we don't want to listen to you. We want to listen to this person. She doesn't know English. No problem. We can speak the language. Why? We are cutting away the third parties, the fourth parties who are going to rob you. You know, many people would come and talk to you. We learned this over time. So in crime prevention, we teach people about these things, that you can walk there. You don't have to have an
and
application.
ask your questions. Yeah.
People call you and begin to apologize. Sir, I am sorry to be calling you. Why do you have to be so sorry?
It's your job to listen. So listen, I know today is Eid, so we need to squeeze in our conversation before the Mufti comes in at 8:30. So, engineer, unemployment has been mentioned, money has been mentioned. Maybe I should also ask...
Family values.
Family values. The family unit is forgetting what they're supposed to be doing. But engineer also had a few things that he said he had suggested to be done in Nakawa, a few solutions that would have worked. Maybe we're not too ready for them also.
No, we are indeed ready, and that's what he talked about. Long time ago, for example, I in Nakawa, I've tried out to make things change my own way, using my own money, all getting help from...
But it shouldn't even be that way.
Like now, we are constructing a police cell. There is no single police that has a juvenile cell. Tell me of it.
Where? In Uganda or
in Nakawa, for example. tell me. Let me take it down to where I know best. Tell me of a police that you have talked about,
that
these young men with energies and doing crime.
We have juvenile cells in the rest of the
country. Where? Tell me of any.
In Uganda?
Tell me of Kampala.
First CPS we have.
CPS has no... How many people does it accommodate? Anyway?
Please, no. I just want you to listen to me. I'm a policeman.
Let me listen.
You can visit.
Let me listen.
So CPS?
In every police station, ideally, we should have a juvenile cell. We should have cells for women.
And for men.
Yes, and for men. And these children should be given specific treatment because they are not criminals.
Yes.
They are just children who are
been
misled with the law. And when they come, you must take care of them. So CPS as and the old model, really, the old model. CPS is an old station. So we have the juvenile cells in Kira division, which is in your division, I think. We have Central. So we have juvenile cells there, and the big stations, Masaka, Gulu, Kapchorwa, over 50 stations. But this is not enough. This is not enough.
Okay, so it's there, it's just it's not enough.
I would like to tell you that in Nakawa, the very first juvenile cell, we have been helped by AB in Zika to construct it. It's ongoing, and I'm using my foundation to construct it.
Isn't this where the community is now coming in?
Yes.
The community is now...
We thank them.
Yes.
But there is no single juvenile, and what has been happening is that these offenders, juvenile offenders, have been creating crimes, released, they are taken to police, there is nowhere to keep them, so they are released
back into society.
Eventually they become even harder.
Yeah.
And now the communities have been mobbing them, killing them. In fact, one time, one was slaughtered live. So we are seeing such instances. Now we are requesting that we should do it the Balimwezo way. And what am I talking about? That, number one, the most important thing is to do the election of LCs, have LC courts, because we used to have LC courts. Before you go to police, why don't you sort it out
somewhere.
at LC level? Because the law is clear. we have an LC court, but which is no longer there because basically the LCs are not there. The ones that are there are not legitimate. So we need the LCs to be in place. I wonder how we can take more than 16 years without that structure being complete, and yet we know it is the most important structure. The LC one is even more important than the mayor. Believe me. So we should take that as a serious point. In Nakawa, I had gotten computers for every chairman LC2, and I had requested for registers for us to register all our
Citizens.
residents.
Okay.
And as you come from another village to come into another, you must be able to get a visa. We are going to begin giving village visas.
Okay, so
tell us the time you're going to stay in the
as we
village.
wrap up. Yes. So for you, you're saying that for community policing, let's first start with the local council
The
leadership.
local council. Without the local
If you
council,
sort that out, everything should trickle out. If we don't, we have problems.
we are lost, and
We
he
are
can
lost.
attest to that.
Yes. So what would be your parting shot for this one?
Number one, those who are really the good citizens. The best example is in Bushenya. I went to Bushenya and was perplexed. When you go to chairman LC1, they are the retired teachers, retired medical officers, people who have been there, people who have a stake, people who will be respected, who will be listened to, people who have come to give a service, not to demand money, not to do deals, people who are that stake. So we would ask those people, please stand for these elections, serve your people, serve your country, because you'll be adding value.
Yes.
So the quality of leadership matters a great deal.
That's true.
Number two, let's go back to the family. Really, family values. Parents out there, be the best example to your children. Because when you are, then you are sure we are having good people out there who have seen the example, who have the checks and balances inside them, who have issues of integrity, who will fear to do certain things for the sake of it, who will think beyond the life today.
There's a moral
number two.
fiber.
Yes, the moral fiber must be very, very strong. Number three, the police, security, national security starts with me and you.
Yes.
If my personal security is not guaranteed, Uganda's security cannot be. So it's your duty, it's our duty. And together we can go far. Where we go wrong, say it. But you know, the laziness of many of us to find someone to accuse. I see many people pointing fingers. When it's a woman, my husband has issues. When there are children, our parents have issues. When we are political leaders, the other political
So we're
actors
pointing fingers at everyone.
It cannot help us.
Okay.
Let's look deep into ourselves and work together. We can disagree like mature people, but the most important thing, in my view, you the individual, me, do I measure up? What I demand of other people? Is this exactly what I'm doing? And once you do this, Uganda will thrive. Let's teach our children to work.
I think I hear you. What you're saying is the core.
Yes, the
Our
core.
core, our foundation needs to be strong, and eventually. Engineer, I need to let you have your 2 or 3 points as a wind-up.
Yeah, number one is I would love Parliament to increase the budget of police so that they can be able to procure better gadgets, do more intelligence, and thirdly, recruit members.
That's what I was saying. People are unemployed.
Exactly.
Why don't they
Recruit.
come to work for you?
Well, it takes many things to employ, to train and pay. How we wish would be able to...
So resources, you don't have enough.
Yeah, it's a resource issue. And it's not for the police alone, it's for the country. You know, my dad would tell us when we were young, he gives you these things to take to school and he'd say, I know this is not enough. He said, do I pick this money from the trees?
Second, we are not yet sure whether indeed elections are going to be there. So that
It's been
must,
many years also. The
exactly,
fiber
that
has
must
been
be
broken.
done as fast as yesterday. Okay? Stopping the sale of open spaces, fields. Long time ago, he will attest to this again, when he was still a young man, he used to go play,
Football.
go back tired, sleep. But all the energies these young people have, utilize them to do criminal activities. So we should stop the sale of basically. Then thirdly, we should make sure that we sensitize parents on parenting. There's a lot of...
Mayor, who's going to sensitize parents?
we leaders.
Okay.
You are giving yourself a hard task.
No, parenting, it's our
How
role.
do you go down to the parents?
Within the
And your
community.
times have changed.
You know,
I told you the chairman used to be a father in the community.
That's what I'm talking about.
Now who's going to touch someone's
If we
child?
have elections of leadership structure, we are going to have meetings. There have been no more meetings in the villages because we lack people who are basically legitimate. People don't trust their leaders anymore. He has just told you that leaders are after money. So we need to make sure that we have leaders that have authority so that they can have the mandate, basically, to lead their people. Currently, they have no mandate. Then lastly, make sure that we put these young people in schools. Stop these funny, we have a system that is going on, system of sports betting. We are now taking sports betting as employment. Government looks at getting revenue, but destroying our people. Men particularly don't want to work.
I think they're trying to get revenue to stop them or to lessen.
Not to control.
To control.
We need a law to control sports betting like it is in Rwanda. Why should we have these cheap warages?
Addictions are also a problem.
Currently we have addiction to sports betting, addiction to waraji,
alcohol,
addiction to drugs.
Drugs, yes.
Okay,
yes.
so we must make sure that we enforce the laws. But currently, we have told you, we have corrupt officers in these cells. I mean, these police stations. And that has been at least, you are trying to work
outside of resources, is that your second biggest problem?
Corruption?
Corruption.
It's the top before resources.
Well, resources would always be a problem, even for the US. But the morality, the moral question, for me, is the biggest problem. And not for the police, for the country. You see, many people would tell you corruption. Well, when you're a police officer, you are privileged to know many more things than the ordinary person knows.
Okay.
Because we investigate cases, we know a lot. If people knew what we knew, maybe that's why we are cool, even when we are under attacks. So corruption is a bad thing.
And by the engineer disagreed with you saying that the country is safe.
The country is safe and calm. I walk in Kampala and it's safe. But of course, this is not to tell you that go walk without being vigilant. We are saying criminals will be there. The Bible says that where the children of angels are, children of devils are also there. So it's good to be alert.
To see good, there's evil as well.
Yes. But the challenges are there. One, corruption. If you, dear viewer, you knew that nobody is going to know what you are doing. Nobody will ever know. What would you do? That's what now determines who you are. But because many people do things that they will never be known, there is nothing you will do and will go unchecked. We shall know it.
At some point.
At some point we shall know it. But people will tell you, you have heard that.
I was completing with this issue
yes, please.
of increasing on the skills that people lack to have self-employment. We should make sure that we work on that. Otherwise, we are losing track.
Yes.
Lastly, I think we must stop land evictions.
How?
Illegal land evictions.
Okay.
That's not debatable. You see what is
illegal?
And
what is going on is,
yes.
you know that we are having illegal land evictions.
They are not lawful. They are unlawful.
That's why they're illegal.
Yeah, they are illegal,
Yes.
so we cannot debate that.
Yeah.
Yes, but and it's going on as leaders are seeing. Even leaders at the top, they are seeing. And some of them are motivated.
And you are the ones who
No,
are...
no, I'm trying to tell you, not me, police.
Engineer, we have to wind up.
Okay.
No.
This is. I don't think the story can end. It's
land. Land. I worked with the land. I invited her to
It's a
the
whole
launch of
other
my book.
discussion.
I wrote the book because there are so many issues. Evictions would be there, but are they lawful? If they're unlawful, do the community know?
And
Do
as you said,
people
it's
know?
obvious. If it's illegal, it's illegal.
If it's illegal, it's
from
illegal.
From what I've seen, engineer, you have to come back. You're very passionate about land evictions.
Yes.
Tujja koma out byogereko.
Particularly,
Yes.
it's only Nakawa that has land in Kampala, and most of the evictions are were being carried out.
And prime land, so it attracts many people.
Including big officials.
You know what? It's a big day in the country. We need to
Yeah,
give space for the Mufti and all that to happen. So this is Morning at NTV. The hashtag is just that. And the conversation, this is not the end of it. This was just a start.
Yeah.
It's just a tip of the iceberg. There's more to actually
I wish we
unveil
could
and
be
unleash.
given opportunity to be here every Friday.
So we will You know what? That's something to think about. Every Friday we come and unveil.
And to listen to what they say.
That's true. That's
we
true.
say this, and sometimes somebody's itching to say
something.
How about this?
We'll give them an opportunity. This is Morning at NTV. Let's take a break.